How do you deal with someone who has weak thinking? Hey there, I'm Esther Rappaport and I help ADHD entrepreneurs optimize their brain so running their business is a whole lot easier. If you've been here for a while, you know that thinking is not one big thing. Thinking is made up of 28 thinking skills called cognitive functions. Now, naturally, we all have stronger ones and weaker ones, but those weaker ones are making it challenging for you to do what you want to do. So, anytime you have a task you don't like to do, it's super frustrating, whatever it is, it's probably because you have a weak thinking skill related to it. Now, the people around you have the same. Any single time they're procrastinating on a task, any single time they don't want to do a task, any single time there's like a miscommunication, a misunderstanding between the two of you, or you things just like didn't work out the way that you'd want them to work out, more often than not, it's due to a weak thinking skill. So, how do you deal with a person who has a weak thinking skill, which is essentially every single person in your life? Because there's no such a thing as being perfect at a thinking skill. Okay. So, I want to define like two types of people that are in your life. There are some people in your life that you see them just once, just twice, they're not a big aspect of your life. You don't have a big influence of their life. Think about the guy in the grocery store. You're going to buy furniture store. Even if you are doing a partnership with your business, right? And you're deciding to like do a collaboration with someone, and even if you do speak 4, 5, 6, even 12 times, you don't have as much of an influence with this person as you do with people who are more your husband, your wife, your kids, your friends, your parents, people who you have a bigger influence over. A big one, your clients. This is a big one. It depends on in which industry, I must say, but often your clients and your employees, people like that, people who you have an influence over, and you can do something to actually help them. Okay, we have these two groups of people. These people that like you're don't have a big influence over, and the people that you do have a big influence over. So I'm going to start with the people that you don't have a big influence over. Someone who doesn't have a big influence over, you want to try to take the time to understand how their brain is working and talk to them in a way that their brain is working. So let's say, for example, even if you go to a furniture store to buy furniture and the sales guy, and you're just going to see him once or twice, right? Um, is talking to you in a specific way, and he's using certain terminology, or maybe he's using a lot of analogies, or maybe he's using his hands, or he needs to show you everything. Pick up these signs and talk to him back in that way, so that way both you and him can be on the same page, and you can be understanding each other good and well. Sometimes it might be someone who you're spending a bit more time with. Maybe it's a collaboration. Maybe you hired a company to do something for your business, right? So they are here to like evaluate your business, or they're here to build something for your business. They're here to just like help you out in some way. You might be speaking to them more times. It might even be a couple of months, but you don't as much have the influence. So then you will really want to take the time to like try to figure out, how does this person's brain work, and really be able to speak to them in that way. Let's say you see they get overwhelmed by way too much information, then give them one piece of information at a time. If you see that they never follow deadlines, then you want to like give them smaller deadlines, so that way it is easier for you, and it's not like, oh, they remembered about the deadline but there wasn't enough time to do it, right? Like, you want to use your intuition and use your own critical thinking and thinking skills to be able to figure out what you need to do with this specific person. That's group number one. Group number two is people who you do have a very big influence over. These people, you also want to talk to them in a way that their brain understands. Okay. Same thing like we just said, but then there's an additional point. You want to also help them improve their thinking skills. This doesn't mean you are trying to change them. This means by you simply being in their proximity, they can and have a lot to learn from you. And in the words that you use, they have a lot to learn from you. And so if you practice strong thinking skills near you, that is going to rub off on them if you spend enough time together. If you talk to them in a mediational way, right? We spoke about this. I think it was podcast episode 354, but I know it's for short called um don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me. I think it's called Don't Tell Me. But it's essentially in a mediational way, right? Talking to them in a way that you ask them questions instead of you just like telling them what to do. So don't like tell them to improve a thinking skill. Don't tell them, oh, you need to be punctual. Don't tell them, oh, you're like, this is way too much information for you. You need to break it down. You want to talk to them in a way that their brain understands, but also mediate them to get them to another state. Okay, this is with everyone that you have influence over. There's within that category, there's even a deeper category, and that is people that you're actually responsible for. So, big one is here your children, your own children. You are responsible for their upbringing. You have a lot on what their values, what skills they've developed is your responsibility as a parent. And this is where you really want to make sure you're doing mediation. And then other people that fall in this deep group, not as nothing comes as close as children, but there's also that sense of responsibility is if you have clients that are specifically coming to you to help them like to develop their inner self. So think of therapists, coaches, things like that. You also have a level of responsibility similar to children, not on the same level at all, but to really help them, and there you really want to do mediation. So anytime you want to help someone with a cognitive function, besides for mediation, you can do with them any of the exercises that you learn here on this YouTube channel, that you learn through any of the content. And the same way that, let's say, we talk about improving a specific thinking skill for yourself, you can do that with the person you are talking to, obviously. Depends who it is, without you having to like them being mad, they have to want to do it, things like that. And then if they're open to it, you can do those exercises and then actually really help them improve those thinking skills. If you have any questions on it, feel free to drop it in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer you, and I will see you on the next video. Bye for now.